last night, 12-10, but they lost 8-4. Bob Melvin trying to win this series here. Take a look at the lineup. The lineups are brought to you by TD Canada Trust. Banking can be this comfortable. Scott Sizemore's had a good series. He moves into the leadoff spot as Jamal Weeks gets the day off. Pennington, Matsui, Josh Willingham. Willingham has homered in each of the first 2 games of this series. Connor Jackson, David DeJesus, Kurt Suzuki has played all 3 games behind the plate. Ryan Sweeney in center, and Adam Rosales gets his first start here this afternoon.
Brad Mills will make his 3rd start since being called up from AAA. That was on July the 23rd. He earned his first victory on Friday when he allowed 3 runs, 5 1/3 innings. That was that 5-4 victory at Baltimore. He has never faced the Oakland A's. This is his 3rd appearance over the last 3 years in the big leagues. He's 2-2 overall with an ERA just over 6.
We are set for action. Scott Sizemore takes a cut at the first fastball. Sizemore, we mentioned, had a good series. He's had a couple of hits in last night's game. He walked twice in the first game. This ball is popped up into right field. Bautista jogs in. 1 out.
Defensively for the Blue Jays this afternoon, a couple of changes from last night's lineup. Eric Thames back in there with the right-hander on the mound with Rasmus and Bautista in the outfield. Edwin Encarnacion will get the start over at first base to give Adam Lind a half a bit of a day off. He will DH Lindwell, and there's Eric Thames setting up in left field. They have played good defense this series.
Cook Pennington, switch hitter, batting right-handed against the left-hander Mills. Pushes him back with that inside pitch. It looked like that caught the umpire. I'm not sure how that happened, but Kerwin Danley reacted as if that ball hits him.
It sounded like it. Looks like J.P. Arencibi just whiffed on it. The fastball right over his glove. Watch this. Right over his glove, and it hits Kerwin Danley on the left side.
Well, it sure did, and you could see that it looked like Arencibi anticipated it was going to hit Pennington. And Danley took the brunt of it. And that's the last thing you expect as an umpire. You expect the catcher at least to deflect it a bit. Ball and a strike, 1 out. Fouled straight back.
Cliff Pennington has a little bit more power from the left side. He's a switch hitter for Oakland A's. A better average hitter, hitting right-handed. 290 this year as opposed to 243 left-handed.
Mills buries that curveball in the dirt, and that was a problem for him last time out against Baltimore. He gave up a 2-run home run to Adam Jones in the first inning, and he couldn't get his curveball over. Bruce Walton in the middle of the game suggested he gets it out in front a little more, and let's see if he is able to make that adjustment. 2-2. Another inside pitch. Pennington's been swinging a hot bat. The Oakland Athletics as a team have hit the ball well since the All-Star break. Just off the outside corner. Pretty good pitch.
Just missed that pitch. Would have been his first strikeout. Base on balls. Let's take a look at the scouting report brought to you by Home Hardware. Homeowners helping homeowners. It's a thinking game with Brad Mills. He won't overpower you. He's got a good feel for pitching. And he'll show off the curve. That's the pitch I think that will be key for him this afternoon. And he's got the legitimate out pitch. I think it's the changeup. But I think he has to establish his fastball, show that he can throw his curveball over for strikes, and then use that changeup.
Hideki Matsui 0 for 7 in the series. Goes after the first pitch and pops it over the Blue Jays dugout. Let me ask you this. The adjustment for the Athletics hitters. Henderson Alvarez threw 97 in last night's game. Mills will pitch around 87, 88. Is that a real adjustment challenge for them?
You know, it could be. You know, I never took a whole lot of stock in a team facing a hard throw and then the next day going up against a soft tosser. If you can hit, it doesn't matter how hard you throw it, and you're trained to be able to hit everything.
0-2. Might have taken a batter or two for them to get a little more comfortable against Mills.
I think the only reason it wouldn't be comfortable for an at-bat or two is because he's left-handed and Henderson Alvarez is right-handed. That's it. I mean, you are trained as a hitter. Joe Perry is the hitting coach for the Oakland A's, and you just have to be able to adjust to anything.
Sliced out of play down the left side.
I think more so in game, where you're facing a soft tossing lefty, let's say. A guy who throws a lot of changeups, and all of a sudden you bring in a guy who throws 95 or 96 within game. I think you'll see more of a adjustment having to be made. But from day to day, I never took a lot of stock into that.
Brad Mills went 9-7 in 20 starts in AAA with Las Vegas. Another 0-2 pitch, bounced foul. The thing about the record for Mills in Las Vegas, he had a .399 ERA in a hitter league, and that's a very impressive ERA. At the time of his promotion, he was only the 5th guy with an ERA under 4.
The ball really carries in those leagues. Look at how they bunch Matsui in the middle of the diamond. That's Brett Lawrie, the third baseman, playing almost straight away center field, or excuse me, shortstop. And Escobar right behind second base.
Well, they certainly have a big sampling of Matsui hitting against the Blue Jays, and he's hit a lot against them. Remember, he spent 7 years with the Yankees in this same division. Matsui has 211 at-bats in this ballpark. So they have a lot of experience to draw from as far as setting up their defense to defend against Matsui.
And how they are going to pitch him with that type of defense, where you've got the diamond in the middle of the field created by those 3 infielders, tells me that he's going to stay in or stay soft to Hideki Matsui.
Line to the second baseman. The defense was positioned perfectly. Matsui now 0 for 8 in the series.
Came in swinging a very hot bat, and he has not been able to find first base. Hits this one hard, but right into the teeth of the defense. Hill had thoughts of trying to get the double play, but a heads up base running right there by Pennington.
2 down. Josh Willingham. A couple of hits in last night's game. He went 2 for 5, and he has homered twice in this series. Takes the first pitch strike. Obviously, the A's have no history against Brad Mills. This is his first start against them, first appearance against Oakland.
I was talking to some of the Oakland people yesterday, and I was asking them about, do you know anything about Henderson Alvarez? And they had the Futures game on in their clubhouse before the game yesterday. The only tape that was available of Henderson Alvarez. So they'll find something to try and get a scouting report on young Brad Mills.
Alvarez actually pitched in the past 2 Futures games, as he was always a highly regarded prospect coming through the minors with the Blue Jays. 0-2 to Willingham. Changeup had him way out in front.
That's his legitimate out pitch, and you don't want to show it too much too often. Major league hitters will start to adjust, and we saw that the other day.
Especially with 2 strikes. Good 2-strike hitters like Willingham. And that really plays into their strengths. They're just trying to put the ball in play with 2 strikes. Pennington has 8 steals, but he's been caught 9 times. He's not a very high percentage base stealer.
And you don't want to take the bat out of one of your hottest hitters either by getting thrown out trying to steal. Willingham has homered 6 times in his last 11 games. There's the steal percentage that you were just talking about with Pennington. So you don't want to be running into an out.
No, especially with the way that Willingham has hit the ball out of the ballpark. He's hit 6 home runs in his last 11 ball games. That's been one of the offensive strengths of this team in the second half. Willingham has a good approach at the plate, especially with 2 strikes, and he's a guy that kind of stays in a big part of the field. He has a short swing. And I think with 2 strikes, he's just concentrating on trying to put a good swing on the ball and make good contact.
And his power will take over. He's got very good power. The 19 home runs. He also has 17 doubles.
Changeup. Struck him out. Brad Mills has a good first inning. He gave up a walk, but picks up his first strikeout. Here at this ballpark at home in Rogers Center. John Farrell's lineup this afternoon. Yulano Escobar returns to the top of the order. Eric Thames moves back in the left field. Andy will hit in the 2 spot. Bautista, Lind, and Encarnacion. And Edwin Encarnacion's been the hottest Blue Jay hitter of all since the All-Star break. Colby Erasmus continues to impress in his new home. Hill, Aaron Sebia, and Brett Floyd round out the lineup, and they're set to take on Guillermo Moscoso.
Moscoso took the loss Friday against Tampa. He allowed 4 runs in 4 2/3 innings, and that's just been a repeating theme over his last few starts. He's 1-2 with an ERA over 7 over his last 4. More walks than strikeouts. He's allowed 18 runs and 30 hits over his last 20 2/3 innings. He has made 1 relief appearance against the Blue Jays. That was a couple of years ago on June the 9th. Guillermo Moscoso came over here this past January in a trade with the Texas Rangers.
Yulano Escobar has done a terrific job in the leadoff spot all season long. It's at an outside fastball. Escobar singled in his first at bat in last night's game. And then, of course, he was hit by the pitch in the 8th that led to the benches clearing and everybody gathering out in front of home plate. 2-0.
Very rarely will you watch, Escobar swing at pitches out of the strike zone. He's got great strike zone awareness. Has an idea at the plate. He's looking for the ball away where he can drive it the opposite way.
Hooks that one in. The hole is short. Pennington quickly to his feet. What a play. Cliff Pennington showing great athleticism. Dives for it, backhands, and quickly pops to his feet to throw out his counterpart.
Not just getting to the ball, but how quickly he gets up and throws a strike across the diamond to take a hit away from Escobar. Up and throws it across the field. He has been knocked for his defense. He's committed 15 errors, but this time that was a sweet play.
Takes a hit away from Escobar. Eric Thames goes after the first pitch. Thames did not play in last night's game. He started in the series opener on Tuesday. Went 1 for 4 with a double. Off-speed pitch. Thames looking forward to the road trip coming up. Seattle and Oakland. He grew up in the Bay Area, not far from Oakland. See, his last 8 games, he's had but 2 hits. Always great to go back to your hometown the first time when you're in the big leagues, and he'll have a lot of family and friends on hand.
Get the pass list out. Time to fill it up.
0-2. Hanging tough.
Teams have been trying to rush fastballs to Eric Thames with 2 strikes. And he's got to show a little bit more patience at the plate. Make them come to him. And when he does that, he's got such a good looking swing. Good things are going to happen.
Pops this one up down the left side. Long run for Sizemore. Boy, he almost made a terrific play. He stayed with it, but it was beyond his reach.
The ball wasn't hit that high, so he has a long way to go in a short time. And he almost comes up with it. The only guy who had a shot at it was Sizemore. In the backhand, and just can't come up with it. But what an effort.
Another 0-2 pitch. Outside. You mentioned Moscoso came from the Texas Rangers. He originally signed with the Detroit Tigers out of Venezuela. He comes from Maracay, Venezuela. He has not fared well on the road. There's a ball that bounced to the first baseman. Connor Jackson will step on the bag. 2 outs.
Oakland A's have committed 19 errors in 24 games since the All-Star break. Here's how they'll line up defensively. Willingham, Sweeney, and DeJesus in the outfield. Sizemore, Pennington, Adam Rosales look at the start this afternoon at second base. Connor Jackson at first. Kurt Suzuki has caught all 3 games. Ryan Sweeney in center field has not committed an error this season. He's gone 184 consecutive games without an error, which is a team record. He's made a couple of nice catches already in this series.
Jose Bautista looks at a breaking ball, trying to go down and away, and he left it right out over the heart of the plate. Jose was on base 3 times last night, a couple of walks and a single. Last 14 games, it's been a bit of a struggle. It's just a 188 average.
You know, at times during the season, you can get out of sync just a little bit. Jose Bautista has always talked about his leg kick and the timing and to get it down. There's a lot of moving parts. But just as fast as it leaves you, it can come back to you. And he can get into one of those home run grooves that we have seen.
Well, as we speak, he is 52 points higher than where he ended up with the average last season, batting .312. There's a good breaking ball. Had a little more depth on that breaking ball, and Moscoso has a 1-2-3 first inning.
on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by your local independently owned Home Hardware or Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Turnover on the roster has been dramatic recently. Colby Rasmus came over in a trade with St. Louis. Brett Laurie was promoted. Eric Thames in his second stint with this ball club. 3 position players that weren't with the ball club to start the season.
Earlier this year, right around the month of June, the Blue Jays offensively really struggled, and they had to make some changes and had to do something about getting some players in there who can play every day, and they've done it. The trade for Rasmus looks like a genius move right now. Brett Laurie, we were hoping to see him at the end of May, beginning of June, but the broken hand set him back just a little bit.
Blue Jays have done a good job of giving young players an opportunity. Eric Thames, as we mentioned, has had 2 different stints with the club this season. Connor Jackson, the first baseman, leads things off. And Cutter inside, missed the inside corner. From opening day, way back in April against the Minnesota Twins, there are 9 players on that opening day roster that are not with the team currently, and some are even out of the organization. Kyle Drabek, Mark Shevchinski, David Percy, Jason Frazier, Travis Snyder, Juan Rivera, Jason Nix, Mike McCoy, and Carlos Villanueva, who's on the DL. That's a pretty dramatic turnover.
Trying to do my math real quick in my head there. That's almost half the roster changed. And if you want to improve your ball club, I think that's what you have to do. You have to keep making changes, finding combination, bringing in players that can produce for you, and pretty soon you'll find guys that will do the job.
Well, over the last several seasons, the Blue Jays have promoted players just out of need. Now they're promoting players because of performance. Mills strikes out Connor Jackson. Back-to-back strikeouts for Brad Mills.
That's very interesting. We'll talk about that after we watch Mills. He wanted this ball in. It's away, and it's enough of a deceptive move by Mills to get it past Connor Jackson for his second strikeout. But promoting players because you need them, way different than promoting players that deserve to be here, that have paid their dues in minor leagues and produced in the minor leagues.
The one thing John Farrell always refers to, and he has minor league experience as the farm director for the Cleveland Indians, when a player outmatches his league, then it's time to promote him. And then it's up to the organization to decide where they land after that.
You know, that's one thing that the Blue Jays have done the last couple of years, especially since Alex Anthopoulos has taken over. They said you are going to earn your way every step in the minor leagues. No more bringing you up just because you were drafted in the first round, let's say, or because we gave you a big bonus.
There's a base hit down the right field corner. Bautista will play it off the wall. De Jesus is headed for second. Bautista bobbled it, but it was going to be close at second anyway. Even if he fielded cleanly, De Jesus runs well and picks up his 16th double.
He has struggled this year against left-handed pitching. Much better approach that time by De Jesus against the left-hander. Third lowest average in the American League versus left-handed pitching, but he stayed right on that off-speed pitch and drove it into that corner. Extra base hit, first hit of the afternoon for Oakland.
See, Bautista in his rush to get the throw off bobbled the ball, but I don't think he would have had a legitimate shot at throwing De Jesus out. So with one out and the man in scoring position, Kurt Suzuki, the catcher. We've talked about this watching Mills work through his first 2 starts. It's a different Brad Mills than we saw last year. He's more aggressive. He's anxious to throw strikes, and he's looking for contact.
Last year, he threw a lot of pitches and just didn't attack hitters.
This ball is foul.
And the thing about what we have seen about Brad Mills over those first 2 starts, there they are right there, first against Texas and then at Baltimore, is he's kept the ball down. And when the ball starts elevating in the strike zone, because he can't throw the ball by you, He's been hit. Adam Jones did it. And his first at bat in Baltimore, he hit the home run. But then talking to Jones the next day, he said he threw him a curveball that he gave up on. Says he's got a very good curveball, and he needs to use it.
Just missed. Kerwin Danley, very conservative strike zone, and Mills not getting many favorable calls early. Mills also gave up a 2-run home run in his first start to Mitch Moreland of the Texas Rangers. Moreland, a left-handed batter. Jones, of course, a right-handed hitter. But Mills himself talked about the experience of pitching in the hitter-friendly PCL in Las Vegas especially. He said, yeah, you could complain about the conditions and get disappointed with the field conditions, the way the ball carried. He said, but I used it as a challenge. I figured if I pitched ahead and changed speeds and threw strikes, I could survive anywhere.
How many times have you seen players use that as an excuse or a crutch if they don't pitch well or if they don't hit well?
More often than not. There's that curveball. Right on cue. Brad Mills drops the hook on Suzuki. That's his third strikeout.
It's got high break from high to low. Watch how much this ball moves. Right-handers, Suzuki just hoping that Kerwin Danley wouldn't call it for a strike. It starts up high around eye level and then breaks straight down.
So Mills has another left-hander with the possibility of getting out of this inning. Ryan Sweeney. First pitch strike. Boy, that's sweet music to a manager's ears to hear the umpire call strike one.
On the first pitch, get ahead. And then use all your other weapons to get him out.
Comes inside again. Brian Sweeney's done a good job hitting with runners in scoring position. He's among the leaders on the Athletics, hitting .357. And he too, like so many of his teammates, swinging the bat well recently. Two balls and one strike, two down. David De Jesus with good speeds at second base. Missed for that breaking ball. Right-hander Adam Rosales is on deck. Rosales hasn't played an awful lot. He had a injury that had him on the DL. He's just had 43 at bats so far this season.
We haven't mentioned it yet. Coco Crisp has not played in this series. He is the normal starting center fielder. Sweeney can play all three outfield positions, but Crisp has not played in this series. He has a calf injury, and that's why Ryan Sweeney hasn't played a whole lot against left-handers this season. He got his first hit earlier this week against David Price for Tampa Bay. His only hit this year against a left-handed pitcher. Crisp does the rest of the work in the outfield.
Well, Coco Crisp had a 4 stolen base day at Tampa Bay on Sunday. They had strained that calf muscle, and even before that injury, Bob Melvin told him he was probably going to get one day off here in Toronto to get him off this turf. But after the leg injury, they decided to scratch him for the whole series and wait till they get home.
37 stolen bases for Coco Crisp, so that's been a big loss for him.
Strike three call. JP Arancibia had a big discussion with Brad Mills to figure out how they were going to finish the inning off. It's a fastball on the inside corner. Mills strikes out the side in the second. prizes from Sharp, including Canada's largest LCD TV, a 70-inch Sharp Aquos. Enter online and hit a home run with Sharp.ca. Sharp makes bigger, better.
Guillermo Moscoso takes the mound for the A's. The scouting report for him, it's got the late break. His fastball is 92 miles an hour, and it's got late riding action on him. He'll throw the curve and the changeup, and he's more of a fly ball pitcher. 130 fly ball outs, 62 ground ball outs, almost a 2-to-1 ratio for Moscoso. That might play into the hands of the Blue Jays, who are a home run hitting team, in the way the ball has been carrying here the last couple of days.
There's a drive to center field. Sweeney back, looking up. This ball is caught by Sweeney. Right on the edge of the warning track. That ball kind of hung up. It didn't carry as well as we anticipated when it came off the bat.
For Adam Lind, it looks like he got it just off the end of the bat. It wasn't driven out there, and that gave Sweeney a chance to run it down. Again, he hasn't made an error in 84 consecutive games. This time he just takes away extra bases from Adam Lind.
Edwin Encarnacion with a 9-game hit streak. He is in a groove, and you had mentioned it. Encarnacion's a streaky hitter. We saw it several times last year. When he gets it going, it's tough to cool him off.
When he is not hitting, he is swinging at a lot of bad pitches out of the strike zone. Curveballs seem to give him problems, but when he's locked in, he takes those pitches.
There the numbers: a .414 average with 3 doubles, a pair of home runs. He's also walked a lot. He's been on base consistently. He leads the Blue Jays in runs scored since the All-Star break. There's what you're talking about. He's been able to take the borderline pitches. Early in the season, he was chasing those pitches off the plate.
Hitters become anxious at times. They want to put the cart before the horse. They want to just get into swing mode, and they try to hit every pitch. Right now, he's just looking for that one.
Since the 7th of July, that's a span of 27 games. You can see where Edwin ranks in the major leagues. He's 5th in average, 1st in on-base percentage. Slugging at .619, the OPS over 1,000. That's 2nd in the big leagues.
You get pitchers, they try to nibble and they try to get him to chase off-speed pitches. And when he lays off of it, the on-base percentage goes up.
Fly ball in the right, 2 down here in the 2nd. Here's one of the new Jays. Colby Rasmus joined the team July 28th in that trade with the Cardinals. His combined numbers over 106 games, 12 homers, 45 RBI. He's got a 7-gamer going. Into center field, Sweeney over in the gap. Well, they got their signals crossed, but Sweeney is about 6 inches taller than Josh Willingham and made the catch. 3 fly ball outs here in the 2nd. Blue Jays are flirting with home runs, but just missed a couple. system. Let's take a look at the farm report. Travis Snyder, since his demotion, 7 for 12, 3 walks in his last 3 games played. How about Nestor Molina? He's just been promoted from Dunedin to New Hampshire AA. He went 10-3 in Dunedin in 21 starts with a 2.58 ERA. And he, too, like Henderson Alvarez, doesn't walk anybody. Yeah. He had 14 walks in 108 innings.
That is the key right there. When they can control the baseball, you can move them up and get to AA where the prospects are. His total batter faced down in A ball was 432 batters, and he walked just 14. He had 115 strikeouts in 108 innings. So he earned a promotion to AA, taking the place of Henderson Alvarez.
He and Henderson Alvarez come from the same city in Venezuela. They're both from Valencia, Venezuela. The Latin influence has returned to the Blue Jays system, and it was such an important part of the organization in the early 80s through the World Series years. Adam Rosales at Sacramento in AAA hit .257. He's an energy guy. Always plays hard. And got a piece of that one to stay alive.
Second stint with the A's. He was just recalled on August the 2nd. Going through a little bit of a tough spell right now with the back. But he can play all over the diamond. And you're right, he brings energy whenever he plays. Always upbeat.
Just off the plate outside. Rosales began the season on the 60-day disabled list. He had a fractured right foot, something that plagued him back into last year. And he's just one of those guys that you always wonder if he had a chance to play every day, what he might do. Barnard down at first said no swing from Rosales. David De Jesus, Jemiah Weeks getting the day off here this afternoon. Switch hitting second baseman. Peel down at first, and Rosales beats the umpire to the safe side. He took off for first before we got the sign up. Well, the Blue Jays have gotten younger all season long in the rotation. As we speak, they are second in the American League in average age, and Henderson Alvarez has a lot to do with that. He's just 21 years old.
Mariners, the youngest rotation in all of baseball, just over 24 years.
Popped out of play.
We have the whole list here, and the Red Sox and Yankees have the oldest rotation, 33 and 31 years old, the average for their starters. So the future is high, I think, for the Blue Jays as they bring up some of these young players, these young starters, and get them in there and get some experience.
Now even the veterans, if you will, Morrow and Ricky Romero, just in their mid-20s. That's a fair ball down the third base line. That'll go all the way down into the corner. Rosales is being stopped at third. Sizemore continues to swing the bat well. That's a double for Sizemore, his 10th of the season.
They moved him up into the leadoff position because his on-base percentage has been so good. He's tied for second in the American League since the All-Star break in walks, but he can also swing the bat. Breaking ball, and he just keeps it fair down the left field line, and on a hot day, that turf becomes very spongy and springy, and it makes its way all the way into the corner for extra bases.
Cliff Pennington walked his first time up. A's threatening here in the third. Infield is playing back. They're not in a position where they could try to save one run. If they'd come in, they're liable to give up two. Anything hit on the ground. 2-0. Aaron Sevilla will go out to the mound.
One of the problems that Brad Mills had in his last start against Baltimore late in the game before he got taken out, ball started creeping up. Just wasn't finishing his pitches. He gets very high on his delivery. And at times he doesn't get that ball out in front to drive it down into the strike zone. Last two pitches to Pennington were up.
Two balls and no strikes. Nobody out. That ball is drilled to left field. Thames on the run. And it's beyond his reach, up against the wall. 2 runs are going to come in to score. Rosales, and right behind him, Scott Sizemore. Oakland has taken the lead, 2-0. Cliff Pennington, his 15th double, is a 2-run double to the wall in left.
Back-to-back doubles for the A's. One down the left field line, and then this one is scorched to left center field. He's trying to get the ball in the air to get one of those runs in, and he'll get 2 of them in. Thames goes back, and he reaches up and just can't come up with it. Toby Rasmus does a good job of backing up the play, getting the ball in quickly, keeping Pennington at second base. The A's jump ahead here.
Hideki Matsui, the DH. Pennington at second. Still nobody out. Mentioned Matsui, 0 for 8 in the series now, but he has always hit well in this ballpark. This is his 59th game here at Rogers Center. He had 7 home runs and 32 RBI. Late on that fastball. Matsui has 504 career home runs. He's in 172 here in the big leagues and 332 in the Japanese professional league. Quite a milestone.
Godzilla, is that what they called him when he came over here? That was his nickname in Japan.
Played for the biggest franchise in Japan, the Yomiuri Giants in Tokyo. Basically the equivalent of the Yankees in Japanese baseball. One and two. Brad Mills making his 3rd start of the season. The league hitting .217 against Mills coming into this start over those 2 previous outings. There's a little looper in the center. Rasmus has to play it on a bounce, and Pennington comes around third. Matsui gets his first hit of the series and drives in a run.
Came into this game with the highest batting average since the All-Star break. And Blue Jays have done a good job of pitching to him. Hitting over 400. This will pick up a run. He gets it right off the end of the bat. I think he broke his bat. Dumps it in front of Rasmus. 3 runs now for the A's and still nobody out.
Now Briswald now to talk to Brad Mills, and we mentioned in his previous start in Baltimore how the curveball was a non-factor early in the game, and then it became more important as the game went on. So far we've only seen 1 good curveball from him, and that's still a problem for Mills. He doesn't have that good hook.
Hasn't really thrown it a whole lot. Shown it to him. I thought at one time to Rosales he would throw him a curveball after he got 0-2, and he didn't throw him one. He ended up walking him. It's a good pitch. I mean, Adam Jones told us that. You can see it from the center field camera how much it breaks. Jones was telling us that to him it looked like it was starting about eye high and then dropped down.
And he hits Willingham. That's the 5th straight A's batter to reach here in the 3rd inning. A walk, a hit batter, 3 hits. It's already led to 3 runs.
They wanted Crowder throw the ball in so Willingham can't extend through. And he gets it, pulls it too much inside. 57 pitches now.
Nobody out in the 3rd. Connor Jackson struck out on a fastball his first time up. Mills gets ahead. Jackson's had a disappointing season in the production department. 4 homers, just 34 RBI. And goes off the borderline pitch inside. Jackson's had over 300 at bats. He's had plenty of opportunities. Playing in his 93rd game.
When he first came up, I thought he was going to be a star. 300 average, power, production, would steal you base. He could play different positions. There's a lot of value in that. If you can play different positions, he had made starts this year at 4 different positions. But the bat has to carry him.
There's a drive to left field. Thames back at the wall, jumps. It's off the top of the fence. Bounces away. 2 runs are going to come in to score. They're right behind one another. Willingham with a great job of base running, and 2 more runs come in to score. Josh Willingham did a terrific job of base running. He stayed right there on the heels of Matsui, and they both scored.
That back runner can afford to get out there. The front runner, not real sure if Eric Thames is going to come up with this ball. He gets back to the wall, and then when he jumps, doesn't come up with it. Not sure where the ball is. That back runner can go all the way to second base and watch the play unfold right in front of him. You can see Matsui not real sure if he's going to catch it. There's Willingham, and when he goes back to tag, he's right on his heels.
Boy, that's textbook right there. Both runners doing exactly what they're supposed to, and it leads to 2 more runs. It's a 5-run inning. Still nobody up. First triple of the season for Connor Jackson, and the infield is halfway. David DeJesus. DeJesus doubled into the right field corner his first time up. We mentioned the A's have really been swinging the bats well, and they continue here already this afternoon. Scored 5 runs on 5 hits. DeJesus is the 7th man to bat in this inning.
And I'm just looking for any kind of out right now. A's are probably going to make the ball go through on anything on the ground. Blue Jays looking for something.
Another run's going to come in to score. The ball went off Aaron Seavey's glove. Connor Jackson scores. It's a 6-run inning.
Ball in the dirt. They wanted it away. It's in the dirt, and he just can't keep it in front of him. Ricochets off of his glove and then gets by him. Just couldn't slide over to square the shoulders up with that baseball, and it gets by him for a wild pitch.
And there's a drive down the right field line. It's deep, but foul. That hit off the facing of the 5th deck. David DeJesus has had a miserable season against left-handed pitching, but he's starting to zero in. He had 3 hits on Sunday against David Price.
288 since the All-Star break. Doubled his first time up to right field.
The wild pitch charged to Brad Mills is the 50th of the season thrown by the Blue Jays. That's just 2 behind the Tigers, who lead the American League. That's an awful lot of extra bases that you've allowed. You combine that with 18 pass balls. That's 68 times you give the opponents an extra 90 feet. Strike 3 called. David DeJesus is the first out of the inning. But the wild pitches from the pitchers and the pass balls from the catchers, they have to improve in that area.
Yeah, that's one part of the defense that has to get a little bit better. You know, it might not sound like a whole lot, 90 feet, but in a tight game, in a game late, you take yourself out of that double play.
Takes you out of a double play, scores a runner from third base. Just moves up a runner. He goes second to third with less than 2 outs, puts him in a sac fly situation. There's too many extra opportunities for the opponents. 18 pass balls by the Blue Jays this season. Only Boston has more, and they have Tim Wakefield, who throws the knuckleball.
That alone will get you a ton. That knuckleball.
Of all the teams in the American League, there are only 2 teams that have committed more than 8 pass balls: the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. And the Blue Jays have 18 pass balls, and now they've thrown 50 wild pitches. Two and two. That ball is ripped down the left field line, and it is a foul ball. Another pitch up in the zone. Suzuki hit it hard, but just got out in front a bit.
Well, right now the Oakland A's are all over the changeup. And we talked about that in the scouting report, that that's a legitimate out pitch, but you can't throw it too many times to good hitters. They'll pick something up, they'll see the ball, they'll find patterns, and they'll start looking for it. That's why you've got to mix it up. A good curveball, I think, right here would do the trick.
This is popped up behind home plate. Aaron Sebia makes the catch. 2 down. Well, the entire pitch, the changeup, is a change of pace. And if you don't throw enough fastballs to create that change of pace, it's going to be a bad fastball. So you have to create a mindset that the hitters are thinking fastball, and then that's when the changeup is most effective. And I agree with you too. Just the curveball, we haven't seen enough of them.
Right.
You've got to continue to throw it. You just can't eliminate it.
You got to put that one extra pitch in the mind of those hitters, so they have to think about, especially with 2 strikes, and then you throw the changeup if you want to, or you can do what he did against DeJesus. He threw a fastball right down the middle. DeJesus was looking for an off-speed pitch. But that one extra pitch will do wonders for you.
Yeah. 1 and 2, 2 outs. Sweeney is the 9th man to bat here in this inning. There's a curveball, but it's bounced in the dirt. Not a bad time to come right back with it. A pitcher is really aware of what he did to throw that ball in the dirt. He's got a good feel for the curveball. Just come right back with it.
Yeah, maybe I felt like I held on to it too long. Maybe I tried to guide it in there. All right, let's make the adjustment right here.
And just miss that outside corner. When you're all over the place, umpires have a tendency to anticipate you're going to miss.
You're not going to get those borderline.
High and deep, but foul. We're just in the third inning, and Brad Mills has thrown 80 pitches. And just now the phone has been ringing down in that bullpen. And they're just now beginning to stir. You can see the cord on the phone is still shaking after they hung up the phone in the dugout, but they'll get somebody loose. John Farrell was reluctant to go to the bullpen so quickly with the Angels coming into town tomorrow.
And Jesse Litch, their long man, threw 2 2/3 innings yesterday. It's about 3 innings yesterday. So you got to figure that he's not available today. It'll probably be Camp and Perez, multiple innings.
Litch threw 28 pitches in his outing yesterday. And Sweeney is putting up quite a fight here.
If Brad Mills can't go longer in this game, you got to figure it's one of them, and it's Sean Camp is up very quickly, starting to get loose. You got to look for pitchers this part of the game who can give you multiple innings.
Fly ball into center. Rasmus is there, and the A's are finally retired here in the third, but they score 6 runs on 4 hits. The Blue Jays will try to get back in it. Aaron Hill, J.P. Arancibia, and Brett Laurie when we come back. For our nation's most talented performers, auditions are being held in Vancouver, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Toronto, Montreal, and Halifax. Canada'sGotTalent.com has all the date and location information. We're looking for acts of all ages. Sign up, show up for Canada's Got Talent. Bottom third of the order trying to get back in this game quickly. Oakland with 6 runs in their half of the third. Aaron Hill will lead things off. That's the first pitch strike. Hill was 1 for 4 in last night's game. Drove in a run and scored a run. Right field. De Jesus looking up into the sun. You can see how he plays it off to the side and trying to get an angle on that baseball and avoid looking directly up into that sun.
Very smart play by De Jesus. You want to get off to the side. Sunglasses don't take the problem and put it away. You still have to look up into the sun. You try and get off to the side, get your glove up there to try and block it out.
See what the defenders are dealing with, and even those sunglasses, you could see the reflection of that sun right on the sunglasses of De Jesus. J.P. Arancibia. Arancibia went 0 for 4 last night with a couple of strikeouts. Off the end of the bat. Big hop for Sizemore. 2 down.
Third baseman, number 13, Brett Lawrie.
Brett Lawrie with a grand slam in last night's game that came in a 5-run 6th inning. Will love to do something to spark his team again here this afternoon. Blue Jays looking for their first base runner.
You know, that home run was special. You know, the crowd and the reaction and everything like that. But was more impressive to me was his double. How he turned it on between first and second base. That shows you the type of athlete we're dealing with right here.
Youngest player in franchise history to hit a grand slam. And that double came in his next at bat in the 8th inning. Just missed his second home run. Hit right off the top of the fence in front of the Blue Jays bullpen. He's shown a good eye. He has laid off a lot of borderline pitches. And he's going to get a diet of breaking balls.
Well, you just watch him make the adjustment from at bat to at bat, especially against a good pitcher like we saw the first night here, Rich Harden.
There's a slider with good depth down and away. Moscoso retires the side in the 3rd. He's been perfect through 3 innings. Brad Mills, he lost just 3 innings, gives up 5 hits. He's charged with 6 earned runs, and he never really got command of the strike zone.
Yeah, walked the first batter in the 1st inning, and another one there to lead off the 3rd inning, and that was the undoing for him. This wasn't been able to throw his off-speed pitches for strike and get the ball down in the strike zone like we saw him against Texas in his first start. So he will give way now after 3 innings to Sean Camp. Comes out of the bullpen for the 50th time this season. John Fail right now looking for multiple innings from Sean Camp as he tries to put this one together. 48 innings this year, 63 hits given up by Sean.
These are situations that managers really have a difficult time trying to get through when your starter is bumped after 3 innings and you have to patch things together. Plus the prospects of the Angels coming to town tomorrow night, and the pitching matchup really interesting. Blue Jays best against the Angels best over the 3-game series.
You are going to see some pitching starting tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, with these 2 teams.
Brandon Morrow will start things out. He will open up. Excuse me. Tomorrow opens up the series against Irvin Santana. Santana's thrown a no-hitter this season. Jared Weaver, look what he's doing. 14-5 with a 178. That's the pitching matchup on Saturday. And then Dan Herron and Brett Cecil. Herron's 12-6 with a 291 ERA. So you're going to get the Angels' best against the Blue Jays' best. Angels a game and a half behind the front-running Texas Rangers. Angels were whitewashed last night in the Bronx.
Trying to run down Texas. They also have a pretty decent bullpen, the Angels. Jordan Walden, big hard-throwing right-hander, finishes it off for him. And you get Vernon Wells, the return of Vernon.
Vernon Wells, and I believe, and you, I believe, think the same way. Peter Borges, the best center fielder in baseball right now. Youngster has really got the ability to cover some ground. 1-2, bounced off the glove of Camp. Deep at second, Hill in time.
On Rogers Sportsnet, brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
A spectacular day here at Rogers Center. First pitch swinging. Sizemore runs out to Laurie. 2 quick outs. That's what Sean Camp needs. Quick innings.
Quick innings. Throw a lot of strikes. Pitch to contact. Use your defense. He's done that his whole career. He's got a good sinker, good slider. His changeup is a lot better. He too has been running through a little bit of a rough stretch right now over his last 7 games. He's given up 8 earned runs. So a chance to work out the kinks here this afternoon.
Good sinking fastball right at the knees. Cliff Pennington had a 2-run double in that 6-run 3rd inning. Ball on the string.
More power from this side of the plate for Pennington. 4 of his 5 home runs have come while he has hit left-handed.
Well, that's a good breaking ball right there. Just sailed off the inside corner. You mentioned Camp. When he's rested, he has a much better breaking ball. It's really tight and a late breaker.
Got a little bit more to his fastball also. That time it looked like a changeup that he used for strike 2. That slider, you don't have to get him chasing it. You can just throw it for a strike because he's got so much movement on it.
Got a piece of that sinker. He stays alive. Camp throws that sinker ball and he'll use it as a changeup, and it's just a slower pitch that has more dramatic movement, and everything he throws moves.
I was talking to him earlier this year about that, and he can throw it at 3 different speeds. The changeup, the sinker, whatever you want to call it. So it's like having 3 more pitches. You can throw it hard, take a little something off, and then really throw him the dead fish that can get the batter out in front.
Inside. Full count, 2 outs. We are just in the 4th inning. Oakland has had a big inning. 6-run 3rd inning. Pennington stays alive. Oakland won the opener 4-1 behind 7 strong innings from Rich Harden. Blue Jays stormed back and won game 2, 8-4. Casey Jansen, a perfect 4-0, picked up the win. Aaron Sebia, and I don't blame him. He was headed for the dugout. He thought that was strike 3. Can't believe it. The breaking ball looked like it was well over the outside corner.
Not a bad idea. The back door of the breaking ball. Arancibia starts towards the dugout. And Kerwin Danley says that one went around the plate. First walk of the afternoon for Sean Kemp.
A 2-out walk, and that'll bring Matsui to the plate. I think Matsui picked up his first hit of the series in his last at bat. Matsui with 57 RBI. He was part of the influx of offense that the Oakland A's thought they had acquired in the offseason, with DeJesus, Willingham, and Matsui all coming in to shore up the offense. The bad news for Oakland was it didn't show up until after the fact. They fell out of the race second half. All the bats came around, and now they're putting on an offensive surge, but it's too little too late.
2010, their pitching staff led the American League in earned run average, so they felt that if they went out and got some offense, they had a shot.
Tapper out in front of the mound. Kemp throws out Matsui, and he has a good first inning of relief. Blue Jays have some work to do on a gorgeous afternoon here at Rogers Center. It's a home run in the fourth inning. Someone will win a 40-inch Aquas Quattron TV and Blu-ray player. To enter, visit hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. Sharp Aquas makes bigger, better. Blue Jays are going to need a couple of home runs to get back in this ball game. They trail by 6, trying to win the series. They have won 12 of the last 16 games playing against Oakland here at Rogers Center. But today, they're going to have to dig themselves out of a deep hole.
They're going to have to, first of all, figure out Guillermo Moscoso. First time through the lineup, he's been perfect. 9 up, 9 down.
Top of the order, Yunel Escobar was robbed of a base hit his first time up. Cook Bennington went into the hole, dove, grabbed the ball, and threw Escobar out. That was a precursor to things to come. 2-0. Boy, Escobar can work the count.
Make him work that pitcher, see if he can get on base. Right-hander is hitting just .229 against Moscoso. You can see he's tough on him.
What are your thoughts about the score being 6-0 and Escobar going after a 2-0 pitch? There's a school of thought that says, you know what, make the pitcher throw a strike before you swing. But that seems to me like that's old school.
That is old school. You know, the leadoff batter really likes to make that starter throw pitches. And there are teams that we have faced this year where the leadoff batter does that. But Escobar, I don't think, falls into that category. His on-base percentage is very good, but he does it his way by swinging.
He certainly doesn't have the regular profile of a leadoff hitter.
Brett Gardner reminds me of the leadoff hitter from the olden days. 2-0. It's automatic that he's taken a pitch.
First base runner for the Blue Jays comes to start the fourth inning. And since the All-Star break, over 4 starts, Moscoso has really struggled.
He was recalled from Sacramento on July the 19th, and those 4 starts since the All-Star break, not good. ERA over 7, opponent's batting average of .337. Hasn't gotten a lot of run support. The A's have not scored a run 5 times in his 12 starts this year.
He gets a quick visit from Kurt Suzuki, who is a terrific leader behind the plate for the Oakland Athletics. He wants to make sure that Moscoso doesn't get into the mind frame of just throwing fastballs here early in this ball game with a 6-run lead. Everybody knows how quickly the Blue Jays can strike.
Get a couple of runners on, and you got the big home run bats coming up. You can get right back into it, but you got to make them throw strikes.
And that's been a problem for Eric Thames recently. His average now down to .262. Breaking ball for a strike. 1-2. And Thames has been fighting himself a little bit. Obviously, everybody knew about the impending promotion of Brett Lawrie. Who's going to go down? Is it going to be Thames? Is it going to be Snyder? That can work on a young player's mind. Big swing and a miss, and Thames strikes out. That's the 3rd strikeout of the afternoon for Moscoso.
And that's the one thing you can't worry about. Who's going to get sent down? Who's going to be brought up? Anything. All you can worry about is doing your thing. Right now, getting on base and having good at bats is the only thing that you can control.
Well, you and I certainly have the experience of age, and you can see the manager understands the situation with Eric Thames. He's really fighting himself right now. And he puts a calming hand on his back and says, hey, just relax. It'll come. You can't get 6 hits in 1 at bat.
Right. The best thing you can do is tell a young player, look, I'm not sending you out. You know, just go out there and just play your game. You can't play this game looking behind you.
But when you're 24 years old, you just don't understand that.
No.
And, you know, you see yourself struggling, and you know the numbers, and every time you look up, you can see your batting average, and you go, wow. And then you see the ball club making changes and changing the makeup of their ball club, so you have to think about those things.
Pitchers aren't going to give you a break.
No.
They don't feel sorry for you.
Nobody feels sorry for anybody in the big leagues. You have to fight for everything you get. Bautista with a 3-0 count, 1 out. Blue Jays need some base runner. Escobar, the first Blue Jay to reach base. There's a walk, 2 aboard. Early in the 4th inning, and everybody that knows the Blue Jays knows they can come back from a 6-run deficit. And Ron Romanek, the pitching coach, has come out of the dugout. Romanek, a former #1 pick of the Angels, had a very promising career early on as a starter. And now he's become a very good pitching coach for Oakland. He was the bullpen coach under Kurt Young. Young got the pitching coach job in Boston when John Farrell left to take the manager's job here in Toronto. Romanek was promoted from bullpen coach to pitching coach.
That was under Bob Guerin, when Bob Guerin was here as the manager, and he's been replaced by Bob Melvin.
Bob Melvin is still the interim manager officially, but everybody around Oakland believes he'll be given the opportunity to be the full-time skipper of the Athletics. Certainly has the pedigree. 2 on, 1 out. Adam Lynn missed the home run in his first at bat, hit the ball off the end of the bat and went up against the wall in center field. Second base umpire Doug Eddings has just called a ball on Moscoso for going to his mouth. He came in from second base, and I believe he called a ball. There's a ground ball to short. Pennington to second and throws it wide of the mark. All hands are safe. Escobar's going to come in to score. Boy, that was a tailor-made double play ball, and Pennington made a bad throw to second.
He is working with a new second baseman this afternoon. Jamal Weeks has the afternoon off. Adam Rosales is at second base. So you can see there was a little indecision between the shortstop and the second baseman. This is tailor-made, and Moscoso looks like he's going to be out of the inning, but he throws it wild. Only Connor Jackson, who runs it down, saves a run here. Pennington will be charged with his 16th error, and that's part of the game that the A's have struggled with since the All-Star break.
Only the Texas Rangers have committed more errors than Oakland in the American League, and the double play combination couldn't hook up. Big break for the Blue Jays. And they got the right man at the plate now, Edwin Encarnacion. Chance to get right back in this ball game early. Then reached on the air by the shortstop. Right on the outside corner. Ball and a strike, one out. Encarnacion needs to get the ball in the air at least.
And Moscoso can do that. He's a fly ball pitcher. Gives up more fly balls than ground balls.
Bouncing ball. They won't turn two. Bautista comes in to score. Ball's in the dirt. Safe at first. Encarnacion beats it out. Bautista scores. And just like that, the Blue Jays are right back in the ball game.
Still down by 4 runs, but you feel the momentum heading over as Moscoso slams down the rosin bag. His defense letting them down. First the double play isn't turned, and then the squibber off the bat of Encarnacion does not turn into an out. The ball short hopped Jackson over at first base, but Encarnacion running hard all the way, beats it out and keeps the inning going.
Pivotal point of the ball game as Encarnacion gets an infield hit, picks up the RBI. But now, with first and second and 1 out, you've got the dangerous Colby Rasmus with a rattled pitcher on the mound. Good cut of the fastball. For the season, Rasmus has hit .234 with runners in scoring position. Hitting .245 since he's come to the Blue Jays. Popped it up. De Jesus battling the sun. You can see him getting an angle on that pop-up. He stays with it and makes the catch. 2 down.
Boy, he just missed that pitch. He's got such a free and easy swing, and the ball really jumps off of his bat. And I bet you'd like to have that one back.
They got a pitch to hit and just got underneath. So Aaron Hill's going to have to come through with 2 outs. Blue Jays have scored 2 here in the 4th. It's a 6-4 Oakland lead, 6-2 Oakland lead. Breaking ball strike. 1-2. Then it's second, Encarnacion at first. Hill. 2 strikes. Strike 3 called. That fastball came back. A little late movement. Took it over the outside corner. The Blue Jays get 2, but strand 2 base runners on. They trail 6-2. Now time for a Jays Connected update. Here's Jamie and Greg in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. Jays on Sportsnet Live, online, and on your Rogers smartphone. Now available for all Rogers customers. Sign up today at RogersOnDemand.com. Bunch of kids here having a great day at Rogers Center this afternoon. Always a great time. Roofs open, beautiful sunny summer day. Series finale, Oakland and the Blue Jays wrapping up. These two teams will meet out on the West Coast for a 4-game series next weekend. Sean Camp in his second inning of work. Set to start the 5th. Willingham, Jackson, and DeJesus scheduled for Oakland. Camp's got a little life in his pitches here this afternoon. And he's pitched a lot of innings this year. And he's been able to get some rest between outings. He's been sharp.
50 games now he has pitched in. This afternoon is game number 50 on the season. Camp has had seasons in the past where he has thrown 70 last year. His career high in games pitched in one inning, 75. That was back in 2006 with Tampa Bay when he also won 7 games for the Rays.
Jason Frazier made 50 appearances before he was traded to the White Sox. And now Camp has tied him for the team lead in games appeared in. Jason Frazier had a tough night last night, gave up a walk-off home run to Nolan Reimold. Willingham strikes out. That starts the 5th.
It's Canada's best-selling car 13 years in a row. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Camp has a strikeout. Now he'll deal with the first baseman Connor Jackson. Jackson had a 2-run triple off the fence in left his last time up. Hits this one hard. Laurie backhands it, makes a strong throw to first. Well, he's got quick reactions.
To either side, a little bit better going to his right than from his left, and that's what he's been working on. He stayed low on that time, kept the glove down. Watch as he gets set in his reaction. Staying low was the whole key, and then coming up with that ball. At times, about going to his left, his footwork, he's been working with Brian Butterfield about his footwork so he can go to his left a little bit easier. At times he gets the left foot too much far in front, and he's got to cross over, but that time perfectly stayed with it.
Trying to keep his feet parallel.
Right.
So he doesn't have to make an adjustment, and Brian Butterfield watching every move of his young third baseman, nodding in acknowledgement of that last good play. David DeJesus jumps back from an inside fastball. Ball and a strike.
Been out here every day working extra with the infield coach for those types of plays right there. That ball, that two-hop screamer to your left where you've got to get a good first step to make that play.
Fouled into the glove of Aaron Sebia. What did Laurie tell Brian Butterfield about the workload?
The other day he had him out here for about 50 ground balls, and he says, look, I don't want to wear you out, Brett, before the game. And Laurie looked him in the eye and says, Coach, I don't want to wear you out. He'll work as long and hard as you want him to.
And he was honest in his assessment. Whatever you need me to do, I'm ready to go to work. Another hit batter. Well, the A's have taken a beating in this series, and that appear to be intentional, but at the same time they hurt all the same.
Yeah, they certainly do. That one especially, a slider that just keeps coming at you, and it hit him right on the knee. With 2 strikes, not good for the Jays, and for DeJesus, not a good feeling to hit that front knee.
See, 4th A's batter to be hit in this series. Kurt Suzuki steps in with 2 outs. Suzuki hit his 10th home run of the season in the series opener. That was on Tuesday night. The leadoff home run was 7. Cam's always more effective when he pitches ahead. He creates that swing mentality in the hitters he's opposing, and then those borderline sinking fastballs become quick ground ball outs.
Yeah, and they have to go after it. They have to attack after it. A's have been a very patient hitting group this series.
Suzuki went too far.
I guess that goes back to their Moneyball principles from a few years ago. High on-base percentage. Let's see a lot of pitches. Let's work the count. Hasn't really worked out for him, though.
High on-base percentage doesn't do a thing for you if you can't steal bases. Go base to base. There goes the runner. This ball is hit into center field. Rasmus got a good jump, but that's over his head and bounces out of the wall. Ground rule double. And that will send DeJesus back to third base, momentarily saving the Blue Jays a run. Suzuki's ball bounced over the wall for a ground rule double.
Suzuki is swinging the bat a little bit better. No chance for Rasmus to run this one down, and it bounces over the wall. He homered the other night like you were talking about. He is now homered against every AL team except Oakland, obviously, since that's the team he played for, and he wanted that RBI. As you see that ball bounce out of play, he knew that Jesus was going to score.
It's academic with 2 outs. DeJesus was easily around third. So Brian Sweeney now with a chance to drive in 2. And Camp trying to keep it a 4-run game. Camp can't get ahead. After 2 were out, he hit De Jesus and then gave up the double to Kurt Suzuki. Two and 0. John Fail realized they don't have to give in to the left-handed hitting Sweeney here. They've got a right-hander on deck in Adam Rosales.
Number 9 hitter, struggling, so be surprised if he throws him a strike.
Camp, I'm sure, is aware of Rosales on deck and the fact that he has struggled, and now they're going to put Sweeney on with the intentional walk. So Camp will get a fresh count and a right-handed batter to try to end this 5th inning. And the bullpen is going to go to work again. Bob Melvin, the skipper, with another opportunity to expand his lead here. Rosales batting .091. Goes after the first pitch. Camp has been ahead now with Rosales. That's important.
Yeah, aggressive hitter. Adam Rosales will take some funny hacks while he's up there, but he's dangerous. Swinging bat is a dangerous bat.
And he'll swing it. Bases are loaded. There are 2 outs. Bounce to third. Laurie waits on it. Goes to second for the force out. Camp gets out of it. Oakland strands the bases loaded. They've left 6 on base. When we come back, Brett Laurie will bat second. Blue Jays trail by 4. Rogers Cup, Rogers Sportsnet, East Ontario Pacific. Right now, the #1 player in the world, Novak Djokovic, is playing, and you can see it live right now on Sportsnet, East Ontario and Pacific, as the coverage of the Rogers Cup continues. The Rogers Cup presented by National Bank. And after this ball game today, I'm going to go up top of the CN Tower and strap myself onto that rail and walk around the CN Tower.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Not a chance.
Come on, I know you better than that.
I'm getting weak knees looking at it. And look at this.
Come on.
That's team building right there. Trust me. We're going to do this. Come over to the top and it'll be good.
Give me a net.
No, thank you.
No.
JP Arancibia leads things off here in the fifth. A ball and a strike. There's a breaking ball in there. I think it costs about $150 to go up and do that. I'd pay $1,000 not to.
Not to do it. What? Why?
Yeah, really.
Tell me why you would want to do that.
That's not on my bucket list. 2-2. Blue Jays trying to scratch their way back into this ball game.
A couple of walks last inning. Both of them came around to score. So a good chance here to get it started.
They've only been able to manage a dribbler off of Moscoso. That came off the bat of Edwin Encarnacion. A little ground ball to third. That's the only hit that the Jays have had. 2 walks in air and an infield single. Arancibia strikes out. Brett Lawrie will bat with 1 out. He struck out on a breaking ball in the third and didn't waste any time getting the Brett Lawrie jerseys displayed prominently right alongside Jose Bautista in all of the concessionaire shops here at Rogers Center. Of course, everybody's been talking about Brett Lawrie since he was acquired from the Milwaukee Brewers in the offseason. It's a pitch inside.
I know I've already been hit up for buying a couple of those.
Yeah, your boys, I'm sure, want to have Lawrie jerseys, right? I think the young fans certainly have been enamored with the energy of Brett Lawrie. And the Blue Jays, we mentioned the 21-year-old Henderson Alvarez last night. Lawrie also 21 years old.
I asked a couple of players today, what it meant when he came into the dugout after he hit that grand slam. What was it like? And Thames was saying that it was like the football mentality. He felt like, everybody is hooting and hollering and going crazy. The energy level has just gone up. Aaron Hill says it was crazy.
Fly ball left field. Willingham drifting back. He's got plenty of room. Gets there and makes the catch. Take a look back last night in the 6th inning with the bases loaded.
Hit the ball in the air and he got it down the line, and he was excited not because he hit a grand slam. He was excited because it put the team ahead, and he's always about winning. That's every time you hear him talking, it's about helping the team win, and it was more important that the team went ahead than he hit a grand slam.
Yeah, it came in a very important at bat in last night's game. Top of the order, Yunel Escobar has been on base. He scored a run in the 4th. There was a lot of controversy about the celebration in the dugout, and Craig Breslow, the pitcher who gave up the home run, said he didn't think that he would have celebrated in that fashion. Another fly ball to right. De Jesus has had a busy afternoon. He makes the catch easily. A 1-2-3 5th inning. We've played 5 complete here at Rogers Center. Oakland has a 4-run lead. reclining chairs in the TD Comfort Zone. Our guests from Frontier College, and they couldn't ask for a nicer day here at Rogers Center. Beautiful sunny day, and a front row seat to watch the Blue Jays take on the A's in the series finale. New pitcher for the Jays will be Luis Perez, a left-hander coming on in relief of Sean Kemp.
26 years old, Perez was a starter at the minor leagues, so he got plenty of work, plenty of innings as he made his way up through the chain in the Blue Jays system. But since he has come to the big leagues, he has pitched exclusively out of the bullpen. And he's been a really pleasant surprise for John Farrell and the rest of the Blue Jays staff. He throws strikes. He doesn't seem to be intimidated. He will challenge hitters. He's got a good running fastball that he'll use, and he'll spin a slider up there also. But Luis Perez has really opened up some eyes, and I think we can throw him in that group of young players who have come to the big leagues and impressed.
Yeah, we saw him in spring training, and he had an okay spring. But, boy, when we saw him make his debut in Boston against the Red Sox, a couple of relief appearances in that series, he really caught the eye of the manager.
That's a tough place to come in for your first big league appearance in Fenway Park against the Red Sox. John Farrell was telling me the other day he didn't even realize he was in Boston pitching it. He doesn't know any better.
What's the big deal?
Yeah, it's just another game.
It's a baseball game, and we talked about that yesterday during Henderson Alvarez's start. The ball is sliced into foul territory. Young Latin players who play winter ball experience pressurized situations at a very young age. Great exposure to be able to play next to big leaguers. Alvarez plays for La Guaira in Venezuela.
A lot of pride on the line for your team.
Jose Molina talked about it as a young player growing up in Puerto Rico. He was playing on Santurce, which is also a big team in Puerto Rico, in San Juan, and he had some veterans like Juan Gonzalez, Edgar Martinez, and Ruben Sierra, and he was just a rookie in winter ball. And Sierra took him to his house during a rain delay and fed the couple of rookies, and he said that was a lasting impression, how he would make me feel like a big leaguer, and I felt like I was part of that team. And then these Latin players come to the big leagues and they feel right at home.
That's the big thing about feeling like a big leaguer. You said you've played some winter ball. How old were you? Had you been in the big leagues yet?
I'd been in the big leagues. I was 21 years old, but I played on a winter league team with Reggie Jackson, Don Baylor, Roger Freed, Elrod Hendricks, Tony Perez, and the manager was Frank Robinson. It was a big league atmosphere.
That was the big league atmosphere. But for a kid in the minor leagues to pitch against and to play with that type of talent, big leaguers, it can only give you confidence if you have success.
Bouncing ball to third. Laurie deep at third. Long throw high, and it's late. Umpire Paul Nart signaled safe as Sizemore slid across the bag. Laurie reached back for a little extra, and air mailed it at first. It's an error on the third baseman, his second error.
Gets to the ball, keeps his feet moving. You're right. When he winds up to try and get a little bit more on it across the diamond, gets up a little bit too high. Encarnacion does a good job of catching the ball and keeping it from going down the right field line. Sizemore heads up play to feel that ball is going to be high and go down underneath and touch the bag as he slides over the top of it. Seen a lot of problems around first base on throws like that. The collisions, or the base runner gets messed up and twists an ankle.
Switch hitting Cliff Pennington will turn around and bat right-handed. Take a look at where the Sizemore hand is. Boy, what a good slide. Ducked underneath the high throw and swiped the base with his left hand.
We have seen first basemen go back to try and tag runners like that and get hurt. Runners hitting the bag awkwardly. But that's just a feel for the game right there by Sizemore, to go underneath that and then swipe at the bag.
Encarnacion has really worked hard on his defense, whether it's at first, third, or most recently in left field.
Blue Jays envision him getting some time in the outfield just to keep his bat in the lineup.
3-0, and Aaron Sebe will go to the mound. Well, you have to keep his bat in the lineup, and he can become an everyday player at different positions. Most of the time, he'd be the DH. Yesterday, he was out taking fly balls in left, and this is not because they want him to be an everyday left fielder. It's because they think during the game, if he happens to be a DH and they make some switches, they could possibly put him in left.
You know, it can only enhance your ability and your value to the team if you can play multiple positions and then carry that big stick. It just gives flexibility to the manager if he needs to make moves late in the game.
Well, Encarnacion's a terrific teammate. And everybody pulls for him. Everybody wants him to do well. And he had such a slow start to his season that things really went sideways for him. There's the walk. First two reach here in the sixth as Perez has had trouble throwing strikes.
It's Canada's best-selling car 13 years in a row. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Hideki Matsui will step in with nobody out. Couple aboard here. Blue Jays just trying to continue to throw up zeros. Oakland's only scored in one inning, but that inning was a 6-run third inning. Matsui lines it to right. Bautista can't make a play. It's all the way to the wall. The ball goes to second base. They've got Matsui hung up. Here comes the throw to the plate. Now all hands are going to be safe. Sizemore held up, not sure whether Bautista would make a catch of that line drive, and then he had a late break and a sprint to the plate.
Pennington, the runner behind him, had a better angle, so he knew that Bautista was not going to catch it, and he almost ran him through. Watch the back runner, Pennington. He's got the good view, but the front runner has to hold up. That Sizemore, and now there's some indecision on Pennington's part. Are they going to send him or not? They probably would have been better off taking the out at second base, getting Matsui in the rundown and getting at least an out.
Matsui is credited with a single, and he also picks up an RBI, his second of the afternoon, and the A's have extended their lead to 7-2. So Josh Willingham comes to the plate again with runners on, runners in scoring position. Perez in his first inning of relief has yet to retire a batter. Oakland has scored 7 runs on 7 hits. And some days as managers you just can't come up with the right combination. Camp goes 2 innings and he had base runners on. He stranded 4 in his 2 innings of work, but kept the A's off the scoreboard. And this is what happens to a team when the starter gets knocked out after 3 innings.
The opposition relaxes a little bit. They've got a couple of hits cashed in already, some RBIs. They go up there just looking to have a great day. You try to piece it together. The ball looks this big coming up there, and you just have to battle.
Well, and things too is the fans and a lot of people watching say, well, why didn't he go to the bullpen, get another arm up? Well, he's got a 3-game series against the Angels coming up, and yeah, nobody wants to give a game away, but you have to manage the situation, and the situation was that you were down 6-0 after 3. Down and in.
They are also in the stretch of 13 straight games without an off day, throwing in a trip out to the West Coast also. So the last thing you want to do is burn out your pitching staff in one game.
Well, especially in the middle of August. And John Farrell and Bruce Walton will sit down at the start of every day, and they'll go over the fresh arms, who needs a break, who's available, how many innings they have in their bullpen, and kind of map out the next couple of days. Willingham will take the base on ball, second walk of the inning, and the bases are loaded. Well, the Athletics have had base runners on all afternoon. They stranded the bases loaded last inning, and once again they have the bases loaded. Connor Jackson.
The only inning they didn't strand a runner was the inning where they scored the 6 runs. They left 11 on last night.
Connor Jackson, 2-run triple, came in that 6-run third inning. Goes after the first pitch. It's a tough time to pitch because hitters are really relaxed, as you mentioned, and they're just sitting on pitches trying to do some big damage and have big days.
They've already had a couple of hits. They've scored a couple of runs. No panic in their swing.
There's a fly ball to left field. Thames backs up. Tagging at third is Pennington, and he'll jog home. That's the 8th Oakland run this afternoon. First out of the inning, a sac fly for Connor Jackson.
RBI number 35 for Jackson.
Milwaukee and St. Louis will play tonight, and St. Louis slipping back. Milwaukee's won 6. The Cardinals are 5 back in that Central Division in the National League. Indians and Tigers, a front-running ball club, 2 ball clubs in the AL Central, hook up tonight. Justin Verlander will go to the mound for Cleveland against Fausto Carmona. Boy, what a year Verlander's had. 16-5 with a 2.30 ERA.
I'm sure we'll talk about this over the weekend because Jared Weaver's in town. Those might be the 2 top pitchers for the Cy Young Award. How about the Cleveland Indians shaving that lead of the Tigers down to 2?
All season long we've been waiting for the Indians to come back to earth, but 2 games over 500, and they're 2 back in the Central. Trailing the Tigers just by a single run in the loss column. One and 2 to De Jesus. De Jesus has had an interesting afternoon. He doubled in his first at bat, struck out, and then was hit by a pitch. Breaking ball, strike 3. Perez got the slider over and comes up with the second out of the inning.
Freezes De Jesus as he gives up on that slider. First strikeout of the afternoon for Luis Perez. And now 1 out away from getting out of this mess.
Still 2 on, 2 outs now. Kurt Suzuki. Takes one outside. Talking about the Indians and the Tigers, they'll wrap up their series with that game. Carmona and Verlander. Then the Indians will welcome in the Twins, but the Tigers and the Indians have 9 games left.
Ooh.
Including the final series of the season. Indians at Detroit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to wrap up the season. 9 games.
9. They've only played them half. So going out and getting Ubaldo Jimenez right now looks pretty good.
Sin-Shu Chu is getting close to returning after his broken thumb and subsequent surgery. Grady Sizemore doesn't sound like he's going to factor in at all, but Chu could have a big impact.
That's like making a trade and picking up an all-star at the trade deadline.
He's a good player, and he got hit by a pitch and shattered his thumb, and he had to have surgery. And they have been thrilled with his rehab and his comeback. 3-0 count. The bases are loaded again. Another walk, third walk of the inning issued by Perez. When you look at the Cleveland Indians, we mentioned they're 2 games over 500, and they're just 2 back. But look at the Jays. Same winning percentage. They too are 2 games over 500. But because they live in the AL East, they're 13 back in the standings.
You know, there's nothing you can do about that. You just have to get out there and just play. It's been like that for years and years. I remember back in the 80s, the Royals would win the American League West, where they were just 2 divisions. They wouldn't have the best record. You know, they battle each other, but they would win division after division with a record just over 500. Just the way it is.
Brian Sweeney with the bases loaded right off the end of the bat. Perez is not going to have a play. Throws it away all the way down the right field. Oh, 1 run is in. Another run is coming to the plate. And you can tell that was trouble. Perez may have been better off trying to get the force out at home, but made an ill-advised throw to first and threw it all the way down the right field foul line.
And a couple more runs are going to score because of that. First thing you think of when a left-hander squibs one like that, it's just shovel it to the plate. But the ball deadens because there was so much English on it. No chance for Aaron Sebia to make that play. The only guy who could have was Perez, and he fires it down the right field line.
4 runs in. Now the Athletics have had a 6-run third and now a 4-run 6th, and they're still not done. Adam Rosales takes a strike. Been a rough inning for Luis Perez. Oh, 0-2 to Rosales. 2 down. Fouled at the plate. That play that Sweeney had the little swinging tapper out in front of home plate, he is given a base hit. Picks up an RBI on that hit, and on the throw, Perez is charged with an error that allowed Sweeney to get to second. 10 runs on 8 hits for Oakland. Bouncing ball just foul. At the start of this series, Oakland was tied with the Texas Rangers for the 3rd most runs scored since the All-Star break, trailing only Boston and New York. And we have seen their ability to score runs.
Second now in the major leagues in batting average, just behind Texas since the All-Star break. Texas 296, the A's 295 coming into this one.
On the ground, deep, it's short. Escobar in time. Rosales has retired, but another big inning as Oakland sends 9 more to the plate in the 6th and put up a 4 spot. It's 10-2 Oakland. That came in the 5th inning, as Jamie mentioned, and Bartolo Colon, 5 2/3, 5 hits so far in this ball game, but the big bat of Callaspo doing the damage. It's 2-0. Angels against New York. We'll see the Angels here tomorrow night. Eric Thames trying to bunt to get on, fouls it into the glove. After his last at bat, he struck out in the 4th inning. Thames got a little encouraging conversation from the manager and a pat on the back. And a tough stretch for Eric Thames.
It all goes to pitch selection. Teams are starting to get a scouting report on Eric Thames. They've got film on him. They've sent advanced men out now to watch him and put an idea together. And it looks like they're really varying between hard and soft pitches. And when they go to 2 strikes, they elevate that fastball.
Well, and the one thing, too, is when you are struggling the way Thames is, it seems every time you look up, it's 0-2.
0-2. Yeah. You're in the hole quickly. And then you really have to battle.
Yeah.
And you hope for that perfect pitch. And when you don't get it, you don't square it up. It's a bad feeling.
Two and two. There's a base hit for Thames. He delivers a leadoff hit here in the bottom of the 6th. The one good thing about Eric Thames is he's continuing to get at bats.
And that should help your confidence. When a manager shows you that type of confidence in you, even though you're struggling, just get out there and just play the game. The A's again go hard fastball, something soft. Hard fastball. That was a changeup, and he stayed on it beautifully.
Jose Bautista. A strikeout and a walk. Pops up the first pitch. Right field. De Jesus. Now Sweeney, the center fielder, calls him off. 1 out.
It's Canada's best-selling car 13 years in a row. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
There's some of that old school mentality there. You're down by 8 runs, but Moscoso had just a control problem in the 4th inning. He had a couple of walks, but with Bautista in the middle of the order, you've got to let him swing. Just see if you can't hit your way back into this game. You know, Moscoso is not going to walk himself into 8 runs. I have no problem with that at all.
I mean, that's what he's paid to do, right? To hit. You get a fastball like that, he just missed it. No one ever says anything if they swing at the first pitch and get a base hit. You never, hey, that's a way to be aggressive. But if they swing at the first pitch and they pop it up, everybody goes, what's he doing? Why doesn't he wait and get a good one? Well, that might be the good one he gets in that at bat.
Tapper foul. Yeah, especially in the heart of the order, when you're down by 8, you figure that the pitcher's going to try to get ahead of you, and you got a guy that can hit the ball in the ballpark better than anybody in baseball. So turn him loose.
He'll challenge you.
Breaking ball that Glenn fouls off. Moscoso's been impressive. He was staked to an early lead, but at the same time, he's helped the Blue Jays to 2 scratch hits. A swinging bunt off the bat of Edwin Encarnacion in the 4th, and a leadoff single here by Eric Thames in the 6th.
Made the pitches when he's had to. Had that bad inning a couple of innings ago, but found his way out of it.
One thing the A's have done is they've been able to replace the loss of Dallas Braden and Brett Anderson, a couple of their young left-handers. There's a drive toward right. De Jesus over. He won't get this one, and it bounces out of play. You mentioned when the roof is open here on day games, that artificial surface heats up and it becomes awfully bouncy, and that ball bounced right out of play.
Spongy. That ball had a chance to be an RBI for Lynn. The breaking ball hangs it out over the middle of the plate. He takes a nice pass at it. And when De Jesus can't come up with it, you can see it makes it over the fence easily. That stays in the ballpark. It's an RBI for Lynn, but Lane Thames has to go back to third base, and now Encarnacion has a chance for some RBIs.
Edwin has a ribby already this afternoon. Picked one up in the fourth. Out in front of that pitch. Ball and a strike. Moscoso signed originally with the Tigers. He signed as a non-drafted free agent in 2003. Went from Detroit to Texas in a trade for Gerald Laird. And excuse me, check swing tapper foul. Moscoso then this January 11th, was traded to Oakland for a minor league pitcher named Ryan Kelly. But Athletics always looking around, trying to add depth to their pitching staff, and Moscoso has been a good pickup.
They went to the right team. The Texas Rangers farm system is full of good young players. And that's the one thing that the 40-man roster will keep you from doing, is being able to protect every one of your players. So Oakland did their homework, and they saw Moscoso pitching in the Texas minor leagues and sent a minor leaguer over for him, and now here he is in the big leagues trying to win a ball game.
2-2, 1 up, way outside.
His ERA is coming into this game has been impressive, 3.69. He's got a losing record, but they just haven't been able to give him some runs.
Thames with a single is at third. Adam Lind had a ground rule double. He's stationed at second. Full count. Popped out of play. I just get a sense if the Blue Jays can get something going and get Moscoso out of the game, there's certainly enough bats in this Blue Jay lineup to come back. It's the 6th inning.
You can't wait around too late. The back end of Oakland's bullpen is pretty good.
Yeah, you want to get to that pen before you get to Balfour and Bailey. Another full count pitch to Encarnacion.
He's got to challenge him. 3-2. He doesn't want to walk him, so he's giving him some fastballs, and Encarnacion is just missing him.
This is popped up into shallow right. Long run for De Jesus. He makes the catch, tagging at third, but stopping is Eric Thames. De Jesus with good speed. As Pat mentioned earlier in this series, he's a former center fielder that's played right for Oakland.
And his arm is very accurate. It's a couple of times now in this series where balls in the outfield where the runner was trying to tag and he has shut him down with a good throw.
Colby Rasmus has flied out twice here this afternoon. Upstairs for a ball. Another nice crowd here on Thursday afternoon. 27,918. Very emotional win last night, and the fans have responded very well. Ball and a strike to the center fielder Colby Rasmus. Last night, 19,541 for a Wednesday night game against Oakland. Not a bad turnout. Ball and a strike. Driven deep, but just foul.
It's a good breaking ball hitter. That's one thing that we have noticed about Rasmus since he has come over here. It's a free, easy swing, and he uses a leg kick a lot like Jose Bautista for a timing mechanism, and that helps him with those off-speed pitches.
One thing Dwayne Murphy has noticed early on, and remember this is just a couple of weeks that Rasmus has been with the team, but said oftentimes he will hook the ball a little bit more than he wants to. But he's got very good hands and gets through that hitting zone very efficiently. Two and two. Outside with the fastball, another full count. Second and third, 2 outs. You mentioned Moscoso holding the Blue Jays to just 3 hits. Thames had a single to start the inning. Adam Lind, a ground rule double. Big difference in this game this afternoon. Oakland has gone 5 for 10 with runners in scoring position. The Blue Jays just 1 for 5. Oakland's taken advantage whenever they've had base runners on.
Blue Jays have committed a couple of errors. They have walked 7 batters this afternoon. 4 of them have come around to score.
Rasmus goes after a high fastball, and Moscoso strands a couple of more. They've played 6 complete here at Rogers Center. It's all Oakland. Trevor Miller will come in to pitch the 7th. It's Junior Jays Saturday when kids get 50% off tickets. Saturday, August 13th, Blue Jays will take on the Angels. The game starts at 1:07 p.m. Kids 14 and under receive 50% off tickets to all Saturday home games. 200 outfield and 500 level seats only. Call the Blue Jays directly at 416-341-1234. Log on to BlueJays.com for tickets, or you can always stop by Rogers Plus locations and pick up your Blue Jays tickets. Saturday, a great pitching matchup. Jared Weaver goes up against Ricky Romero. That's the middle game of a 3-game series. New pitcher for the Blue Jays is Trevor Miller.
Now in his 11th year in the big leagues, he came over from St. Louis along with Colby Rasmus for Mark Zebchinski and a couple of other players, Dotel and Edwin Jackson. Left-hander, he's been around for a while. He's pitched for multiple teams in his career. At one time, pitched for the Blue Jays. That was back in 2003.
Scott Sizemore has scored a couple of runs today. He had a double in the third, reached on an error and scored in the 6th. Twice today, Oakland has batted around. Popped up, shallow right field. One out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Curtis Granderson hit that home run off Tyler Chatwood, a young pitcher for the Angels.
It's still real early. Okay. But is Curtis Granderson in the MVP talk right now for what he has done offensively?
That's an interesting statement, Mr. Tapper. When you look at what he has done, boy, he has certainly flourished in New York with the Yankees. Granderson now with 32 homers, as Jamie mentioned. More importantly, he's got 93 ribbies. He has just passed Adrian Gonzalez for the American League lead. So your statement is valid.
Plays a premium position, center field, for a playoff-bound team.
He is second in total bases. He now has 250 total bases. That's only 8 behind Adrian Gonzalez. And Adrian Gonzalez left the pack early.
Yes.
I mean, he was out in front by a mile in most of the offensive categories, except home runs with Bautista, of course. But everybody was anxious to anoint Adrian Gonzalez the MVP, saying, boy, what a great start he's had to his season. But I'll agree with you. Curtis Granderson has played his way right into that conversation.
And again, it's only the second week of August. There's a long way to go. But what he has done for that team kept hitting all season long. They've lost A-Rod. Teixeira has been great. Jeter really hasn't had the season that he has had in the past. You got to throw his name out there.
I'll give you another reason to consider him. He's hitting third in the lineup. He has been so consistent that Joe Girardi has moved him into the third spot. J.B. Arancibia missed another ball, and it hit the umpire. Kerr went down. That's the second time Danley has been hit by a pitch that Arancibia didn't touch. It happened in the first inning, and this time it looked like it hit him right in the helmet. Watch Arancibia.
I don't know if he's picking up the ball or it's disappearing on him halfway to home plate, not watching it into his glove, but he whiffed again on that one, and that got Danley right in the face mask.
I mean, he just barely got a piece of it and deflected it upwards, and George Poulos is out talking to Danley. And he checked with Danley earlier when he was hit early in the ball game in the first inning. Got hit from the side of the chest on another pitch that Arancibia didn't get much leather on. another pop-up into right. Bautista again over near the foul line. 2 down. Trevor Miller, the fourth Blue Jays pitcher to work here, will get a left-handed batter. Now Hideki Matsui. Matsui has rebounded here with a couple of hits and a couple of RBIs. He's also scored 2 runs after a slow start to this series. Breaking ball for a strike. Catchers and umpires are having a rough day today. Not sure who that hit, but it looked like it may have hit Aaron Seavey at that time, that the foul tip created some problems.
So you want to be a catcher, huh? Tough. It's a tough position. And when you watch young catchers learning their trade, you can see how important it is.
And we have talked about the wild pitches and pass balls this afternoon, and talking to scouts, it's the most difficult position to scout an amateur player at, because you never see an amateur catcher catching the type of pitchers he's going to catch in professional baseball. So you can mask a lot of the defensive flaws when you're trying to scout a young catcher. He just doesn't see the quality pitchers often enough.
Just take one aspect of catching, game calling. How many amateurs actually go through calling a game? Because pitchers can't do it. Half the time the manager's calling the game for them.
Coach in high school and college call most of the pitches, and certainly it's an exception to have any college player, college catcher, calling pitches. 3-2, 2 outs. Matsui stays alive.
If you really want to learn the game, let the catcher call the game for you.
Well, in the big NCAA baseball programs, they always have the World Series on their mind, and they're not going to let some freshman catcher come on and call all the pitches. But it's a challenge for scouts to identify catching skills. And how many catchers we've seen in big leagues now are converted position players? Posada and Martin were both infielders, starting out their professional career. A lot of catchers in the big leagues started out somewhere else. Off the glove of Encarnacion into right field. Matsui has his third hit of the afternoon.
Dropped down one too many times against Matsui. He gave early in the count where his front shoulder leaked a little bit, but that time 3-2 he stayed right on it. Underneath the line drive right off the glove of Encarnacion. Matsui now has been on base 3 times.
Not much Encarnacion could do on that line drive. He got a piece of it, but it was past him almost before he could move. Josh Willingham hasn't had a hit yet today, but he's been on twice and scored twice. Two and 0.
One more thought about catching. You've heard it said that young kids, it's the fastest way to the big leagues if you become a catcher. Well, how come there haven't been a lot of great catchers developed in the last few years? They all come from other positions. They start off as third baseman. They start off as outfielders, whatever.
Well, I have my personal opinion, and having watched high school baseball and college baseball, I think the better athletes shy away from the catching position because it's hard work. And so many people believe that if you catch, you're going to lose some of your offensive skills. Joe Mauer's an exception. Of course, the great catching prospect out of high school, also a football quarterback. So he had the attributes you want to see. He was physical at 6'5", and he had leadership skills being a quarterback on a football team.
It's a tough position to fill, and when you get a good one, you've got to hold on to him.
This is popped up. Should be playable. Second baseman Hill makes the catch, and the Blue Jays get out of the 7th. Trevor Miller strands a base runner. He went 6 innings, held the Blue Jays just 3 hits, allowed 1 earned run, walked a couple. That's the only time he got in trouble. That came in the 4th inning. Both those walks in the 4th inning when the Blue Jays scored their 2 runs.
Most strikeouts in a game for Moscoso since his start back on June the 29th versus Florida, when he had 8 strikeouts in that game. So Faustino de Los Santos will take over, and he's got a great arm. 23 strikeouts in 17 2/3 innings in just 15 games this year. He came over from the White Sox in that Nick Swisher trade a few years ago. Didn't really bring it.
So he's in now with the score 10-2. Bottom 3rd in the order. The Jays just haven't been able to mount anything offensively all afternoon. Moscoso retired the first 9 he faced, and it was a leadoff walk in the 4th, the first time the Blue Jays had a base runner. De Los Santos is 25 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. Late life on that hard fastball. Oakland made a heck of a trade back in January of 2008. They got Gio Gonzalez, Ryan Sweeney for Nick Swisher, and Faustino de Los Santos. 3 for 1, and 3 pretty good players. There's a hard slider. Hill strikes out. Fans, just a reminder to enter to win a trip for you and 3 friends to see the Blue Jays play the Yankees in New York. The grand prize includes airfare and hotel accommodations, a private limo, and much more. Enter today at BlueJays.com/Rogers Road Trip. Go on the road with the Blue Jays and see the brand new Yankee Stadium. Great opportunity to see a beautiful ballpark, and the Blue Jays take on the Yanks.
Think about that trade you were just talking about. Oakland did their homework. They got a young left-handed starting pitcher who can strike a lot of batters out. They got a starting outfielder.
Arancibia hits this ball a mile to center field, and it is gone. Home run number 19 for J.P. Arancibia. Boy, when he stays to that part of the field, he is a dangerous hitter.
I agree 100%. He had an at-bat down in Baltimore where he drove in a couple of runs where he drove the ball to right field. Watch him stay on this pitch. Doesn't overcommit, stays down and through and drives it. He's got power the opposite way. This one to right center field, home run number 19. And that's his approach right there.
Brett Lawrie, the number 9 hitter, is 0 for 2 this afternoon. Ben's back from another breaking ball. Lawrie up to a good start in his career. .350 with a couple of homers. He's driven in 6. 3-0. There's a strike right on the outside corner. You can see De Los Santos has a big arm. That last pitch at 95 miles an hour.
And he seems to have an idea also. I've seen a lot of young kids come up here with a big arm, but they can't throw strikes. Seems to have a decent idea. But that trade we were just talking about, you've got an arm like this, Gio Gonzalez, a young left-hander, and an outfielder like Ryan Sweeney who can help for one player. And the White Sox only kept Nick Swisher 1 year.
Yeah. He was a free agent. They let him go. 3-2, 1 out. There he takes the walk. A 2-out walk here in the 7th. Back to the top of the order. Now Escobar. 0 for 2 with a walk. J.P. Arancibia, his 19th home run. He is now just 1 behind John Buck for the franchise record for home runs by a catcher. Now Suzuki is going to try to encourage De Los Santos to get back into the strike zone.
He does a good job of taking care of his pitchers, recognizing what the pitchers are not doing. Front shoulder might be flying over open a little bit too much, not staying on top of the baseball. Every time he has gone out there in this series, the pitchers have listened to him and come back throwing strikes.
Ball on a strike to the Blue Jays shortstop. One down. We are in the 7th. Looping ball down the right field line, and what a play by De Jesus. He really stayed with that ball, and coming off the right-handed bat of Escobar, that ball was slicing away from him, but he stayed with it and made a nice sliding catch.
He had an idea that Escobar would hit the ball the other way, especially when the pitcher's thrown 95 or 96. Stayed right with it. That was a fair ball. If he doesn't come up with that, that's extra bases and probably a run for the Blue Jays. He has made 3 really fine catches in this series as a right fielder.
Two outs. Eric Thames had a base hit his last time up. De Jesus has made 6 catches in right this afternoon. He's been busy. That obviously was his best. Breaking ball on the outside corner.
He had one the other day where he went to the wall down there in right field and stayed right with it and actually slid into the wall and made a catch.
Outside, 2-2. Faustino de los Santos in relief of Guillermo Moscoso. Oakland in a position to win the series. This wraps up a long road trip for Oakland. They'll go back to Oakland and welcome in Texas. Ball is driven to left field. Willingham has room. He's on the track and holds it in. Thames is retired, and the Blue Jays score a run on J.P. Arencibia's 19th home run of the season. But the Oakland A's lead by 7. John Roush coming out of the bullpen. Taking place right now on Rogers Sportsnet West. Maria Sharapova on the court playing right now. Jerry Davis and Tracy Austin with the call. Rogers Cup presented by National Bank. Great tennis action on all the channels, but Maria Sharapova playing right now on Sportsnet West. New pitcher for the Blue Jays is John Roush. Roush has been on the shelf for a couple of days with tendonitis in his knee. Getting a chance to work here this afternoon.
Unavailable the last couple of days because of that knee discomfort. 11 for 16 in saves. Last time he pitched, he picked up that 11th save. That was in Baltimore on the 5th. An inning, a couple of hits and an earned run. So Roush getting some work here to make sure that knee is okay. A couple of other defensive changes for the Blue Jays this afternoon. Mark Teahan takes over for Edwin Encarnacion at first base, and Johnny Mack will take over for Yuno Escobar at shortstop.
Connor Jackson batting for a 5th time here this afternoon. Jackson's driven in 3 runs. 2-run triple and a sac fly. He went too far, according to Paul Nard, down at first. 1-2. Roush is ahead. Connor Jackson is average at 265. Swings and misses at a Roush fastball. First out of the 8th. Fans, test your knowledge and win additional Sharp prizes by visiting the new Hit a Home Run with Sharp Facebook page. Sharp gives you an opportunity to answer some questions and win some great prizes. Check it out. Sharp Facebook page. One down here in the 8th inning. David De Jesus, the right fielder. Well, he's gotten his running in right today. He's been all over the place, covering a lot of ground.
He's also been on base a couple of times. A double and a hit by a pitch, so he's got some running in on the bases also. Hasn't scored a run.
Oakland, we mentioned a long road trip, started in Seattle on the 1st of August. We had a couple of off days. They played at Tampa Bay, a 3-game series, 3 games here. Long road trip covering over 6,500 miles.
They probably feel like they've been on the road for about a month, living out of a suitcase, checking in, checking out.
Especially this time of the year when you have a 3-city stop, a 3-city tour with 2 off days. And we have seen Oakland. We saw them in Tampa Bay. They came in on the final day of the Tampa Bay series. We played an afternoon game and they were already in town. Also had an off day here for the start of this series. 2-2. They will go home after this game and the Texas Rangers will come to town. And there's been a lot of controversy surrounding the comments by C.J. Wilson. And Wilson will open up that series tomorrow against Oakland. Another ball outside. C.J. Wilson, Brandon McCarthy will open up the series. Wilson was asked about Oakland in reference to the possibility of maybe signing there as a free agent. He said, I hate Oakland. I hate the mound. I don't like the fans. And everything is bad there. So that's got everybody up in arms in the Bay Area.
Don't like the fans. Don't like the ballpark. Don't like the area. Cross that city off the list.
He also said, I'm not going to go there because the players hate me. So it should be an interesting night for C.J. Wilson tomorrow night when he starts against Oakland. Full count. De Jesus is on board again. 3rd time he's been on base. It's the 8th walk the Blue Jays have issued here this afternoon. I don't care who you're playing. You walk that many guys, you're going to cost yourself a game.
Throw in a couple of errors, and that's how you score more runs than you get base hits. Oakland has 10 runs on 9 hits this afternoon.
Kurt Suzuki takes the first pitch strike. Suzuki has a walk as well. Chipped in with a double. Ball was fouled off the catcher's leg. The Blue Jays will welcome in the Angels tomorrow night. First of 3. Pitching matchup. Erwin Santana, the right-hander, goes up against Brandon Morrow. Saturday, another good pitching matchup. Ricky Romero and Jared Weaver. And Sunday, Dan Herron, Brett Cecil. Top 3 pitchers for both clubs hooking up in the 3-game weekend series.
Anxious to see Santana. He pitched against the Blue Jays way back in April. That first road trip of the season for Toronto when they went out there, and he pitched well.
Bautista backs up. He'll make the catch. 2 down.
But he's taken his game to the next level. He's had a no-hitter. That was against Cleveland. You'll get to see some good pitching the next few series. The Angels you talked about, Seattle, they're going to see Michael Pineda once again. And Oakland's pitching staff is pretty good too.
Well, put this down in your book. You want to see Henderson Alvarez? He'll pitch again on Monday against the Mariners, and that will be against Michael Pineda. So a couple of young, hard-throwing right-handers hooked up to open up that Seattle series. Brian Sweeney. Sweeney's had an RBI in each of the 3 games here against the Blue Jays. Filling in for the injured Coco Crisp. Two balls and a strike. Seattle should be an interesting stop for the Blue Jays. It'll be the first time Brett Lawrie plays in Seattle, and of course he comes from Langley, BC, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Brett Lawrie fans and Blue Jay fans make the trip south down to Seattle. Sweeney pops up to center field. The A's are done here in the 8th inning. Blue Jays trail by 7. Now time for a Jays Connected update. Here's Jamie and Greg in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. RogersOnDemand.com. Watch the Jays live from anywhere, online or on the go at RogersOnDemand.com.
The A's came into this game with 91 errors, but you wouldn't have known it by the way they have used the glove. First batter of the game, Escobar is robbed by Pennington, the shortstop. Adam Lynn sends a drive deep to right center field. Ryan Sweeney runs that one down. And then, Escobar one more time is robbed of a hit as he sends the ball down the right field line. David DeJesus full out. Takes away a hit from him. The A's have played excellent defense here this afternoon.
Cliff Pennington got it started, and Sweeney has had a good series. David DeJesus has been busier than anybody on defense for Oakland this afternoon, and Brian Fuentes will come out to get his first work in this series.
Andrew Bailey spent some time on the disabled list, and Fuentes has saved some games for the A's. 12 for 15 this year as he has pitched in 52 games. He's got a very funky delivery, tough to pick the ball up. He doesn't extend through it as he brings the ball back. Short arms, making it very tough for the batter to pick up the baseball.
Jose Bautista has been held hitless here this afternoon. Bautista, it's all about timing. You can see he was frustrated by getting a good pitch to hit there and fouling it straight back to the screen.
That was the pitch that he was crushing early this year.
Breaking ball stayed outside. Fuentes wanted a new baseball. Brian Fuentes has had a good career. He's been able to move around and contribute a couple different scenarios. Signed as a free agent with the Angels after a good start in Colorado. There, the off-speed pitch, and Bautista strikes out for a second time this afternoon.
He has had success, like you were saying, in other organizations, saving ball games. Watch this one, how tough it is to pick the ball up. Pulls the string a little bit to pick up the first strikeout. He has 199 career saves. Brian Fuentes, he had a couple of 30-save seasons for the Colorado Rockies. His career high was set in 2009 with Los Angeles when he had 48 saves for the Angels.
Fuentes actually started his career in Seattle. Made his debut in 2001 with the Mariners. And then after that season was traded to Colorado. Hot shot right back to the mound. Lynn's retired. 2 quick outs here in the year.
He was a 25th round draft pick of the Seattle Mariners. Made it up and he's done really well.
Mark Tien will bat. He came on defensively, took over at first base for Edwin Encarnacion. For Tien, this is only his 4th game since joining the Blue Jays. Getting his 3rd at bat. It's tough to come to a new team and then not get many opportunities to help.
Certainly is. And when you get that one at bat here, one at bat there, it's tough to keep your timing and keep the game speed. There's Mark Tien's career. 66 home runs in 807 games.
Got a good fastball, and don't you know it, every time you get an opportunity to get in the bat, you're facing a left-hander like Brian Fuentes.
Who is tough on lefties. Tough to pick the ball up.
Good fastball. 2-2, 2 outs. We are in the 8th, and it's been all Oakland. They've scored in 2 innings, but they had a 6-run 3rd and a 4-run 6th. They lead 10-3. Tien strikes out. Fuentes has a good 8th inning, a 1-2-3-8 with a couple of strikeouts. We'll go to the 9th. Follow the Blue Jays with MLB.com At-Bat 11 app on your BlackBerry, iPhone, iPad, or Android. Get live audio, pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Visit BlueJays.com for details. And the ninth inning of a lopsided game, Oakland leads at 10-3. Frank Francisco will come on to work. Brad Mills going just 3 innings, and John Fales had to dig deep into his bullpen.
Sixth pitcher of the afternoon for the Jays. Fifth reliever Francisco last worked 6 days ago. Rajay Davis also into the ball game. He takes over for Jose Bautista in right field. Francisco had a nice outing his last time against Baltimore on the 5th, an inning, a couple of strikeouts. Fastball is back for Francisco, and so has been the command. It's one thing that he was missing in the middle part of this season. Wasn't able to get his fastball over and get it down where he needed to be successful.
His season got off to a slow start because he was slowed by a muscle problem in his shoulder. Front of the shoulder put him on a disabled list early in the season. Took him a while to get up to strength and up to speed, and his fastball wasn't where it needed to be to start the season. Adam Rosales getting the start at second base this afternoon. Drives this ball into center, but Colby Erasmus is there. 1 out. Disappointing afternoon for the Blue Jays after a very emotional win last night. Blue Jays won 8-4. In the middle of the game, Brett Lawrie had a big game with a grand slam home run and a double. But they couldn't take advantage of that big game, and Brad Mills had a rough start. 3 innings, 5 hits. He was charged with 6 earned runs, and he walked a couple of batters. Scott Sizemore leading off today in place of Jamal Weeks. Drills this to center field. Rasmus is back, and it's over his head. And it too bounces out of play. The third ground rule double of the afternoon.
Scott Sizemore has been hitting since he has come to the Oakland A's. Talked about his on-base percentage, which is one of the best ones the second half. He's also hitting with runners in scoring position. This time sends us Francisco offering over Rasmus in center field. He has been on base now 3 more times.
Scored a couple of runs. That's his second double of the afternoon. Switch hitter Cliff Pennington takes a pitch down the stairs. Pennington's had 3 walks today. And it's been a problem for the Blue Jays pitchers. They have walked 8 this afternoon. They've walked 8. They've hit a batter. And 3 of the walks have come around to score. Also, Willingham was hit by a pitch. He scored as well.
And a couple of errors. Error by Brett Lawrie on Sizemore's ball. Started that 6th inning when they scored 4 runs. He came around to score.
3-0. There's a strike. Oakland in the second half of the season has done a much better job of scoring runs and swinging the bats. If they win this ball game today, and they certainly look like they will, they'll have a 4-5 road trip through Seattle, Tampa Bay, and Toronto.
And all those miles that you were talking about, over 6,500. Bob Melvin's done a good job with this team.
And they got off to an 0-3 start. They were swept in Seattle and then won 2 out of 3 at Tampa Bay, and looks like they're going to do the same here. Bob Melvin taking over his athletics team in June. Bob Guerin was the manager. Oakland hit a real tough stretch. They reached out for Bob Melvin, and he is back in the dugout. Fouled off the glove of Aaron Sevilla. Bob Melvin is 49 years old. He started out his managerial career in 2003 with the Mariners. And then he was let go by Seattle and moved to Arizona in 2005. And actually won the NL West in 2007, going 90-72 with the D-backs. Off-speed pitch. Pennington is out. 2 down here in the 9th. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Granderson and Cano doing the damage today. Curtis Granderson a 2-run shot. Robinson Cano with the grand slam. Hideki Matsui's had a big day. He has 3 hits. He's driven in a pair and scored 2. Ball on the strike. Blue Jays were so optimistic about winning this series after big game last night, but Guillermo Moscoso started out the game, retiring the first 9 batters he faced. Base hit to right field. Rajay Davis will come up throwing and stop Sizemore at third. Matsui's 4th hit of the afternoon.
One of the better hitters after the All-Star break, hitting over 400. This will be his 4th single of the afternoon. Hits it sharply by Aaron Hill into right field. We were talking about this series. Blue Jays have been playing some good baseball of late, and they just haven't been able to do anything right against Oakland.
Matsui had a 5-hit game earlier this season in July at New York against his former team, the Yankees. He went 5 for 5, hit a couple of doubles, and drove in a run in that game. This is his first 4-hit game of the year. Josh Willingham. Two and 0. There's a strike. Blue Jays have had to use their bullpen. This is the 5th reliever to pitch. The problem is they've all thrown at least 20 pitches. Camp threw 35. Perez threw 35. Miller threw 25. Roush threw 20. And Francisco's thrown 20 already. So some of them are going to be questionable for tomorrow.
Yeah, no easy innings, no quick 1, 2, 3 innings. Again, the A's have left 10 runners on base. Jesse Litch pitched yesterday. Casey Jansen pitched yesterday. They should be okay for tomorrow. But there haven't been any 1, 2, 3 quick in, quick out type of innings. Lots of pitches. And again, they're in the midst of a 13 straight games. 13 games in 13 days.
There goes Matsui, and there's another walk. That's 9 walks now issued by the Blue Jays. So once again, the bases will be loaded. Oakland has stranded 10 in this game. They have 3 more base runners on now, and they've scored 10 runs. Connor Jackson. He's driven in 3 this afternoon. Goes after the first pitch and lifts it into center. Rajay Davis calls for it, makes the catch in front of Colby Rasmus, and finally the A's are retired into the ninth. Blue Jays will bat bottom of the ninth. They trail by 7. Will open up the Angels series tomorrow night as Los Angeles is in town for a 3-game series. Brandon Morrow and Irvin Santana will start things off. We'll be here at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the pregame show, Sportsnet 1. Jamie Campbell, Greg Zahn. That's 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time. First of 3 against the Angels of Anaheim, who are trailing the Yankees this afternoon in New York.
Should be a lot of fun. But first, Craig Breslow will come in to try and finish this one off. He came into last night's game in the 6th inning with the bases loaded. Before that, he had only given up 3 runners scoring at the 22 that he inherited. But the Laurie grand slam and the Hill single took care of that. Opponent's hitting .325 against Breslow.
Colby Rasmus goes after the first pitch and skies it to center. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the ninth.
It's good that you have a rough outing yesterday. Your manager gets you right back in there if he can, just so you have a good feel for finishing off this game.
Aaron Hill is 0 for 3. Blue Jays for just 3 runs on 4 hits this afternoon. Breslow throws a first pitch strike. Oh, and 2. There's a drive into center field. That'll get down and go all the way to the wall. Aaron Hill will stop at second with a 1-out double here in the ninth.
0-2 pitch from Breslow, caught way too much of the plate. As Hill will hit it into right field. Hill got him last night with a single to left field. This time an elevated fastball, and Aaron stays on top of that one. Drives that ball into right field for extra bases.
15th double of the season for the Blue Jays second baseman, J.P. Arencibia. Homered his last time up, drives this ball to center. but Sweeney has a bead on it. Hill tagging at second will move over to third, but there are 2 outs. Craig Breslow was the pitcher in last night's game that Brett Lawrie hit the grand slam off of. That took place in the 6th inning. And Breslow, after the game, said about the celebration, I don't think I would have chosen to celebrate that way. But he also added, Lawrie got me.
2-0 fastball, turned on it. I don't think he was showing anybody up.
No, he was just excited. He didn't know enough to show anybody up yet.
Yeah. He was excited that it put his team ahead.
Ball on a strike. Off-speed pitch. Lawrie way out in front. They have just been informed that the AA shortstop, Adeiny Echeverria, has been promoted to AAA Las Vegas. Lots of moves going on in the Blue Jays minor league system. 1-2, 2 outs. Lawrie pops it up, and this should do it. First baseman Connor Jackson catches it, and the A's have won the series. They win this afternoon 10-3 and give Guillermo Moscoso the win. Blue Jays lose the series. Anaheim will be here tomorrow night. We'll be back. Stay tuned here on Rogers. Gene Principe and Connected coming up next.